pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will get started. I need a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
Madam President, I move we adopt the agenda with one edit. Can we pull the personnel agenda out of the consent agenda and discuss it in executive session at the end of the meeting, please?
Okay, I have a motion to the consent, or to the adoption of the agenda minus the personnel agenda for discussion and executive. Do I have a second? A second. Motion and a second. Go ahead. Those in favor? 2, 4, 5. Okay, 5. Opposed? 1. Okay. Okay, do I have a motion for the consent agenda minus the personnel agenda? Motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda minus the personnel agenda.
Okay. Motion, second. All those in favor? 6. Okay. We are at Board of Ed acknowledgements. Let's start off with Jeff.
I'm in the back.
There he is.
Good evening. I got several things for you, or have several things for you. First, on Friday of last week, Mr. Meek, Jimmy Hay, and myself made our way to the first student robotics competition over the summit. Second time I've been. Always amazing when you get there. A few things that stood out to me. Number one, our students, it's a big thing to exchange buttons with other groups. Our students actually had some stickers as well as a NRLB, no robot left behind. I think it shows a lot of the spirit that FIRST tries to instill in their students, and that is you're supposed to help everybody out as best you can. And you see our students engaging with other teams on a regular basis. Team 1108 is highly regarded for being helpful to others. I also just found out when I walked in that Brian Gilchrist is just one of 4, I think now, students to be selected at a regional with the Student Leadership Award. And so that's a really tremendous deal. So congratulations on that. They ended up 3rd. Very exciting. They finished 3rd in their pool play, whatever you want to call it, before they get into finals. And so finishing in 3rd, that means you get a select in your alliance. One selected 2, so they actually got the 2nd pick, and they made it into the semifinal round before their robot became disabled, which happens in the competition. I actually saw one match where all 3 on the red team couldn't move at all, and so you just got to take advantage of those opportunities. But this time it didn't work out in my favor. I included information in the board report about prom on Saturday night, so hope you had a chance to read that. That also went out in an email to students and parents this morning. I think it's important that they get that for this very exciting week for a lot of our juniors and seniors. Wednesday, our band and choir both can be going to the state large group music festival, which is at Prairie View. The way the time worked out for our choir right around the lunch hour, there's not many lunch options in Prairie View's area. So if you'd like to come serve lunch, my wife and I are providing lunch for the entire choir in their house after they perform. So I'm excited about that, to have them there. And then that'll also let us get the few students that we share hooked up with the band so that they can perform much later in the choir group. Those are my positives.
Awesome. Thank you. Ben.
So we're wrapping up state assessments at the middle school. Our 6th and 7th graders did a great job with math and ELA the last 2 weeks. They put a lot of effort in, focus into those. Our 8th graders are finishing up with the science assessment this week. And then hopefully we won't have too many makeups. Our attendance has been pretty well the last 2 weeks. So makeup groups have been very small. Probably about 15, 20 kids that would have to do some making up. Last Monday, our 8th graders went up to the high school for the Reality U program, which is a program based on building real-world financial literacy and life skills. It was pretty fun to talk to them as they came back and telling us all about how they had to make decisions on what to buy, and they had to hold a baby while doing it too if they won. And some kids, it would be somewhere in the realms of, I have $1,200 left in my checking account. I'm so excited to, I have $2 and now I'm eating ramen for the next few days. So it was a wide variety of different financial literacy for them, but it was good to hear from them all. On Saturday, our Kid Win team went to state in Topeka, or excuse me, Salina, and we did have a team place third there. Duncan Command, Brooks Doherty, and Oliver Newton. They did a great job. Miss Guilfoyle took a video for us, and one of the activities where they built a windmill from a kit and put it inside of a giant shark, if you will. There was a giant fan. They turned it up full blast, and at one point you see the entire fan just explode, literally, which was unexpected when I saw it, for sure. Lastly, at our home track meet last Tuesday, we had a couple of records that were broken and or tied. I want to recognize Steele Mead. He broke a 30-year-old record in the 1600 meter by about 3 seconds, just over 5 minutes in the 1600 meter. And then also Briar Sherman tied the 7th grade girls pole vault record, which I do fully expect to see her break that here either Wednesday at our Lewisburg meets or even at our next couple meets before we get to league. So that's what we have in middle school.
Awesome, thank you. Stacy.
Yes.
There she is.
Well, lots of events going on at Sunflower as well. Today Amy and I finally got all of the pallets of books unpacked, so we got those delivered, so students are excited about that. We had our girls gala and our boys bash last week, always a fun time, really special evening to see the students come just in a different than a school setting, so the dance, always a success. And then I wanted to follow up from our Panther Club presentation that we did last week. If you remember, Paula Gage presented her Kid Win, and they were going to do a market day, and other Panther clubs made products that they sold and will donate those profits to Always and Forever. And they raised $800 doing that, so it was really cool. The kids loved it. So a great learning experience, not just for the kids supporting her Panther Club. We had other Panther clubs that made products, but then also the kids working at Market Day, making change, etc. And then our group went to Kid Win this past Saturday. They went to state as well. We posted some pictures on Facebook of the big shark that Ben had talked about. And while they didn't place, they were recognized for teamwork and the presentation, so shout out to them. And then this Sunday, this coming weekend, is the K-Toy Banquet, which we will have Corey Flynn there and Deanna Faust from the high school.
Awesome, thank you. Brennan.
Yeah, keep mine pretty brief, but to make more time for Lego Week participants here today. But our kindergarten students just went to field trip on Friday to Lego Land, and learned a lot of fun things about science and building. And then our first grade students are going to Science City, April 16th. We just completed kindergarten roundup. Right now, as of today, we have 80 students signed up, 80 registered for kindergarten roundup. So obviously looking to add to that number. Our book fair is coming up April 20th through 24th, and our kindergarten music program on the 27th. So looking forward to that. And then this Friday, our teachers, along with Sunflower, will be doing in-service on our new reading curriculum and have that ready to go and implemented in the fall. We're excited about that. And then finally, I don't want to talk too much about it, but our Saturday I get to spend a good chunk of the day with our Lego League team, and then they did fantastic, represented Hello very well, and I'll let them speak more to that here in just a few minutes. So be a part of the district, and good things are happening at Copland as well.
Awesome, thank you. All right, it's time to recognize some amazing employees of our district. Tonight we have two. The first one is Miss Lindsay Plank. Lindsay has been... Lindsay, you have been nominated by your peers and or members of the public for your exemplary work. The person who nominated you said, Lindsay deserves to be nominated for recognition as an outstanding educator and colleague. She has been an incredible source of inspiration, guidance, and support. She's consistently sharing strategies, ideas, and practical tools to help me with my classroom practices. She embodies the spirit of a team player. She has collaboration, innovation, and dedication that makes this school and community stronger. So, congratulations. Thank you.
Sure, you do whatever you want. We'll take a step forward, because then it's on your face. There we go, perfect. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our second employee of the month is Matt Fuchs. Matt, you have been nominated by your peers and/or members of the public for your exemplary work. Your nominator said, Matt is kind, helpful, and dependable, making him a truly valued member of USD368. He creates a welcoming environment where no tech support question ever feels insignificant. His patience and willingness to help others never goes unnoticed. He is one of the nicest people in our organization and truly deserves this recognition. So, thank you for all your time. Good choice. Congratulations. Congratulations.
More forward, there we go. Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Are there any other board acknowledgements?
I wanted to acknowledge Ms. Karen Ulansky-Smythe at the Alternative Education and Virtual Learning Program, continuing to work with students with care and grace to help meet their goals.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, next up is none other than our most wonderful, loved children of the district at Live. They're all wonderful. They're all wonderful. But the littlest ones of our district, Cottonwood is here with their Lego League to share with us what they get to do. Welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna put these two. I don't want to cover up, we've got some pictures that I'm going to show, we'll put some on the side. It's all right. Thank you guys. Well, thank you for letting us be here today. We're so excited to share with you guys everything that we do with Cottonwood Lego League. Mary is unable to be here tonight, and she was heartbroken because she is the leader of this wonderful program. Mary started as a high school robotics mentor 9 years ago, and when she learned about Lego League, she brought it to Cottonwood. So this is our 7th season of Lego League with Cottonwood, and Mary did something really amazing this year. She through her high school mentorship, she inspired Dr. Beth Peatland, who is a high school mentor, to come and join us at Lego League. And you might notice we have a few high schoolers here today. That's just a few. She also inspired many of our high school robotics kids to come and join us at Lego League. So now every week when we meet, we have Dr. Peatland with us as well, and at least 5 to 10 high school students are there at every Lego League. There's 1 to 2 kids at every table helping coach our littles, and they have been fantastic coaches. Not only were they fantastic coaches, I have to say a few of them started out as Lego Leaguers, which is really cool. So we're very grateful to have them, and they followed us around on Saturday. It was their high school robotics competition that we went to Saturday. We also got to compete there, so it was a Lego League and a high school competition. And these high schoolers were there with us from the moment that we got there. They helped the kids get set up. They went and cheered them on when they were talking to the judges, and they were there at the awards ceremony through the whole thing. So they've been wonderful, wonderful support for us.
So we meet an hour after school once a week so that they can learn more about this year's theme and build the instructions, and then be creative on their own and be innovative so that they can build. What you see here today is just a small sample of what we've built this year. And then we celebrate the end of the season by attending the Lego League competition, where they show off their Legos and then answer questions from judges about what they've learned this year and how they built what they did. This competition is held, like Christy said, at the high school competition, so that these kids can see what the big robots do as well. So they get to walk through the pits, interact with all the teams, and learn more about what the future holds if they continue to follow this. So.
We're gonna let the kids take over because they do amazing things. We're gonna start with our chant. So we start and end every session with this chant. Our session activities help facilitate and instill the first core values. And we were looking for a way to really help the kids remember the core values and remember what they mean. So our first grade teacher, Mrs. Harvey, wrote us this wonderful chant. So we're gonna share it with you today. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
At Lego League, we like to play. Here's a list of all the ways. Discovery is just the start. We learn new things to build our smarts. Impact is another piece. The effect we have will never cease. Innovation is super cool. We find new ways to create with tools. We use teamwork all the time. Working together is just fine. Inclusion is important too, so everyone can share their view. The most important rule of all, just have fun, stand proud and tall. Panther Pots are here to stay. We make a difference every day.
So can you guys tell everybody, what was our theme this year?
Archaeology.
It was what?
Archaeology.
Archaeology. And what did we learn about archaeology?
Dig stuff up.
We dig stuff up. What kind of stuff?
Artifacts.
Artifacts. And what are artifacts?
Stuff from a long time ago.
Yeah, that tells us about what?
How they lived in the past.
How people lived in the past. Yep. So, do you guys want to say what was your favorite part of your Legos?
My favorite part was coding.
Coding,
Teamwork.
teamwork. Yeah.
Building the Lego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Walter, can you tell them, how do the Lego models that you guys built, how does that relate to the real world?
If real archaeologists want to build them, they build a model first, and then they look off of the model to look at the pieces, and then get the right pieces and make a bigger one of the model.
Yeah, so that all of their equipment, they have to have a model first to kind of figure out what they need, right? So how do archaeologists use technology?
They use machines to see where artifacts are underground.
How did you guys use technology in your models? So you mentioned coding, Ari. What did we have to do?
So you build the thing, and then you put the battery, and like if it had a motor, you put the motor on,
Okay.
and then you code it.
Can
So
you
what
show
the
them
motor
with the
thinks.
iPad how you coded them?
Do you guys remember, what did we code?
We coded an Arctic snowmobile.
An Arctic snowmobile. Yeah.
So you can move them to the
I'm
thing.
going to tell you what, turn around and hold it up so they can see.
So put the things on the thing, and then you click play, and then it'll do it.
And what different things can you make your vehicles do?
Like drive.
You guys can help out. What else do the
What else do they do?
They can spin around in circles.
Yeah.
They can make it turn. They can go backwards.
Do they make sounds?
Yeah.
Is that our favorite part, is making it make sounds?
Yeah. One of them.
Yeah. What were some of the artifacts that were in your model? Remember? What was it?
Diamonds.
Diamonds, yeah.
A turtle shell.
A turtle shell. What else was in there?
A scooter.
A scooter. Cool. Yeah.
A fish.
A fish. Yeah. So there were lots of things and we could go find them. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, well, thank you for letting us share a little bit about Lego League. These kids have worked really hard this year. They mentioned teamwork. Oh my goodness, they do such a fabulous job. Even though these are kits and they come in little baggies with everything that you should need and then directions, there's always a missing piece, isn't there, guys? And which one of our core values do we use when we have to figure out what to do when there's a missing piece?
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
What's the other one we use?
Innovation.
Innovation.
What is innovation? What is that?
Find a problem, think of an idea, make it happen.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Hadley, do you remember what you told me being innovative is the other day? You said you have to improvise, Mrs. Hager. That's another really good word, Hadley. Goodness. So they do a really good job of working together to figure out and solve those problems. So it's fun to watch. So, all right. Well, thank you. These certificates they're holding, each team, we had 4 teams at the competition Saturday, and they all won an award. One group won the Teamwork Award, one group won the Core Value Award, a Team Poster Award, and that one was the Challenge Solution Award. So all 4 teams walked away with an award.
Awesome.
So.
Cool. Can I take your Lisa's papers? That way you don't. Good job, guys. All Lisa's papers.
Nice job, thank you. That's gonna be for you, you don't want to get it's gonna be. With the first of the robotics. So they're gonna be able to label next year. And a little more
Okay, so those of us that are left, thanks for sticking around. Just a reminder to the board, we do have a special meeting next Tuesday, the 21st. We will be meeting for our final tour. It will be at the high school at 7:30. So, we'd love to have you there. That is also one that we will be done by 9 o'clock. So, moving on, we don't have any open forums tonight, so we will move right along to action items. The first one is approving the 26-27 KASB membership dues and legal assistance fund with Matt.
Yeah, so the district has been a long-time member of KSB. They're the ones that provide multiple things. Being part of the organization allows for board training, also training that are administrative and directors can attend and go to. And then the second part is legal assistance fund. legal assistance fund is the attorneys on call that we have the ability to call and get help with as issues come up that we want legal advice on. Also being part of the member and so forth, we belong to the natural gas consortium that KSB provides, or we're a member of that. They also have property and casualty insurance. We have had them bid it, but we have not chose to be a part of that consortium because we actually get better rates with EMC insurance, and we're one of the handful of districts in Kansas that is still the situation with the property and casualty. So that it's up for renewal. I don't know if Jimmy has anything to add with that, but we'd be happy to answer questions.
Yeah. No, I just, not to bring up past memories, but the natural gas, remember a few years ago, was a mess, and there was a big lawsuit because it was, that February when there was that really severe cold snap in Texas and everything. And yeah, it was a lot on the legislative level, so it was out of control bills, and that being in that, we had legal representation, saved the district a lot of money for that. So that in and of itself probably paid the membership for a lot of years, so it's a good resource.
Okay, are there any questions from the board about membership dues and the assistance fund? Okay, if there's no questions, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion. Second. Second, all those in favor? 7, all right. Next up, action item approving the 26-27 rates and fees.
So this doesn't happen very often, but the first part for fees, we are recommending that we delete or get rid of the fee for nutrition and wellness. It was a $10 fee for that class, and the reason is because we realigned some of the classes within that program, and so there's not a lab portion to that for that class anymore, and so there's no need for that class. The rest of the fees, we are recommending that they remain the same. And that would include enrollment fees, and then the bus ridership, paid ridership fee the same. With that though, we do have our food service, our breakfast and lunch fees, and we are recommending an increase of 35 cents to both, I guess across the board for breakfast, lunch. That would include elementary, secondary, and then also adult meals. Reduced fees would remain the same for 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch. Those are set by the higher ups, and then of course there's the free status would follow that as well. The rationale or the reason for the 35-cent jump is we were able to hold our cost flat for many years, and then we raised it a dime last year, but the cost of food and then labor and so forth is just, we're needing to adjust it to keep pace. We never want to make money off our meal prices. Our goal is to be a break even. Sometimes, I mean, we'll make a little bit, but knowing that we can fluctuate from year to year and so forth. Right now, we're running at about roughly $100,000 deficit, and so that's part of the reason of needing to have that. We do have that money within our food service budget, so it's not like we're in the hole or what have you, but we need to right size that by a few things. It's kind of a three-pronged. Part of it's meal prices, so revenue. Part of it is expenses, so we need to make sure that we right size, that we're not overstaffed. And the way there is an industry standard for, it's called meals per labor hour, and so you take the number of meals served, divide that by your number of labor hours, and there's an industry standard, and so we need to make sure that we're within that part. And now I just went to, and the other one is participation. So obviously the more meals you serve, the more kids that eat, then the number of revenue, that helps with the revenue as well. The other piece though that we also need to know is we know that we have, with some decreasing enrollment, the number of meals, when you have fewer kids, that tends to go down sometimes, but if we can get participation up, we might be able to offset that. So that's the rationale behind the recommendation for the increase.
Is this about the average price of what surrounding districts?
Yeah, so if I was to compare what I'm recommending to last year's, we would be at the top end of the districts. However, I don't know what other districts are doing for next year. They tend to, so I think as other districts have the same conversation, that should put us right in line with everybody else. There'll be a few below us, some above us. We will be kind of in the upper quartile, I guess, would be, if we were to compare that.
Obviously, if we had a crystal ball, we could answer this with certainty, but we've been able to hold the line at our prices for several years. Is there hope that putting us at this mark, that would be the case for at least the short-term future? Or do you suspect?
I can't.
Obviously.
I
there's
can't
things
answer
out of
that.
control.
I do know that last year, so the way some of the prices and it goes on, it's food away from home, and it's a norm thing, and so that's what our contract is based on, but it reflects food prices, and so last year it was 3.7%, it's 3.9%. So if you figure, like just for that part of, for food and so forth, is about 3.9%. Take that times the dollar amount of what we charge. Last year, we increased it a dime, and that inflation ate every bit of it, and it was like 11 cents or something. So, but if we can do that, yeah, that's always the hope.
Sure.
That's the hope. I wish I had that crystal ball.
Same.
How
Same.
long has Kayla used, is it Tahar?
Tahar. This would be year 3.
Do you know if the schools are happy with the service that they've provided compared to what there's been before?
As far, define schools.
Well,
The
I mean,
feedback
which-
that the feedback I've got is, our meal participation is up. They have been very responsive to questions, or if there's a concern or what have you. One of them was, and what I talked to them about is, I don't want just frozen patty put on and heated up and served and so forth. And so, especially this last year, as we're wanting to try to look at a participation, they did more of that from the start, but they've increased that, what they call scratch cooking, more, and so that's helped that as well. Of course, with changes, I'm sorry.
I know my kids have noticed that.
Yeah.
They've actually started buying school lunches, so.
In years past, it was literally Monday through Friday, chicken nuggets, chicken patty, chicken strips, chicken leg, and panther rib, if you were lucky.
Panther ribs are still a favorite.
Hey, give me a panther rib and I'm a happy camper. I literally just said this at site council. As far as I can see, the menu is like, the fact that they have 2 choices, they have a main choice and a second. I've gone and helped, and they can have all the fruits and vegetables they want. They can go back for it. So I definitely think, it's better. Is everybody pleased?
Never.
Subjective.
But that is a big, you're exactly right. Our secondary kids have a lot of choices. Our elementary have multiple choices that they didn't have in the past when it was in-house. And so that's helpful. And one of the things that initially when we were talking, there was concern about, can younger kids, can they make it? Because they have to decide in the morning, what do you have for lunch to help with that? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, our kids do it whenever they go to McDonald's or some other place, right? So they choose, and it's worked out well. It hasn't been an issue.
I had one question, because I had mentioned it to Jimmy, that there is a program that if you get to a certain threshold, you get all of the lunches paid for as long as you don't charge from the federal government. We're not near the threshold that would make it work,
But is that based on self-reported or based on confirmed? Because I feel like
I'm
sometimes,
sure it's probably audited figures.
okay,
I don't know too many details about how the program works, but I do know it's, the reason I think we were even on the bubble of being close to is the direct certification percentages are up there quite a little bit. I think you only have to be 25% to beat that. But financially, it would put us in a huge deficit, just because of how the reimbursement works.
yeah, it's like 60% to make it.
Correct. Yeah. It would be tens of thousands. Yes, right.
Yeah, or under a lot.
We're up to one or something.
It would be tens of thousands of dollars a month short, less reimbursement than we get now. So obviously a school year, we say is like 10 months. It'd be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars deficit if we signed up for that program. So we're not there yet, but you know.
Wanted to, 'cause I know some people don't sign up
Right.
when they could, so.
Yeah, and I think it's good for the community to know why we don't do the community eligibility, and others around us might. It all depends on those percentages of who qualifies and who doesn't, so. And that's kind of the same reason too why districts aren't able to do like summer feeding programs and things. Some of those rules have changed, where in the past, we had that. During the pandemic, we were able to do the meal pickup behind the high school, but kind of all those things have gone away. We don't qualify for anything right now, so. Or the one we do, it would not be feasibly possible to do, so, yeah, but always good to be aware of those things, so thanks for bringing it up to us.
Okay, any other questions about the rates and fees?
Motion to approve?
Motion,
Second.
second, all those in favor? Christian,
Thank you.
7-0. All right, up next, rolling on with food service, the Taher contract addendum for 26-27.
So part of our contract with Taher is it's a 5-year contract, except for it's renewed every year. So at the end of 5 years, then you have to take it back out to bid as a service. But it's really 5 like 1-year contracts, if you will. So what you have presented to you would be the increased cost sheet as compared to last year. This is a reflection of that. It's the same with the addition of a 3.9%, which is what I referred to a minute ago from that food away from home piece. If you were to look at that, it tells you like what the cost is per meal, and so we get for a student lunch, we get charged $2.49 for that lunch, and then any labor that's on top of it, the very bottom line there, we actually get charged 7.865 cents per meal served for each labor per employee or what have you. So reminder, when we moved to Taher, we gave employees the option. They could remain employees of ours, or they could move to Taher if they wanted to. As we have someone resign from 368, that position actually gets rehired if needed on the Taher side. That's actually, financially, it's actually advantageous for us when we're charged their Taher employee. But we've given that as an option to our current employees because of caterers and so forth. We didn't want to take that from them. So I would recommend approval.
Okay, any questions on the Taher contract?
And I should mention one thing. I have to have KSD approve that document, and so it is, I'm waiting back. So this is pending their okay to say yes. So we can approve it tonight, we just can't sign the contract until after I get KSD approval.
Any questions from the board?
I move to approve the TAR contract addendum for 26-27.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? 7-0. Next up, capital outlay 26-27 general projects with Jimmy.
All right, it is April, which means we're talking about capital outlay projects for the next school year, believe it or not already. So a lot of information is out there on Diligent. I'll always call it board docs, but it's on Diligent for public view. So I'll kind of hit the highlights to kind of cover that. We follow the same process that we do every year, and the building's working together with Scott Teagarden. He's trying to hide over here behind me, but Scott's here tonight, building the grounds, so does a lot of work. So thanks Scott for all his efforts on putting this wonderful little binder together of all the projects we're going to talk about tonight, and then the building administrators that are here too can answer questions. Scott works with them, gathers all the information, gets quotes and bids on things we need. He and I and Matt always sit down and kind of talk about those and kind of come up with a plan to present in April of every year to you, the board. And as I mentioned, we always do this kind of a year behind. So we plan for the next year, we've budgeted this year, and then we'll actually, so all this we're approving is for next year. We have the money already coming in from this year, we'll spend it after July 1. So really, as soon as you approve, some of these things have a long lead time, we'll get started early, but I try to get them all done this week. So anyway, just to cover a little bit of the summary of the attachments that are out there on the board agenda items. So there's one out there, the first one is on revenue. So showing you what the budgeted local tax revenue estimate was for 25-26. And that was about $2.2 million. And that's just from the 8 mills that we levy for capital outlay. So nothing magic about this number, but if you just divide that out, because the whole budget works a different way off assessed values and things, but if you just take that and divide it by 8, you'll get how much 1 mill generates capital outlay. It's about almost $284,000. So obviously that funding for us for our facilities is very important, especially now our bonds are paid off, and with no pending bond issue, this is the only way we can maintain our buildings outside of general fund, which is a whole other topic of conversation. So that $2.2 million, it does not include any non-tax revenue things. So interest earned, a lot of it gets credited back to the capital outlay fund, and then any facility rentals and things go back into capital outlay as well. So back in the past, there used to be state aid on capital outlay. That went away a couple years ago, 23-24, I think was the year that ended. And so it had been dwindling, but we were receiving $150,000 of capital outlay state aid that particular year. So obviously that went away, and so that's kind of shifted a little bit more of that locally here as well. So again, the actual revenue versus the budgeted revenue, you always want to look at that. You'll hear me talk about that, what you should compare actual to actual, budget to budget. But in this case, if you look at what we budget and then you look at the actual between the tax collection rates, because you never want to budget a high enough tax collection percentage, your delinquency jumps and you don't collect enough money to fund your budget. So that there's always going to be that built in there. So the actual revenue should typically, hopefully, always exceed what's budgeted because of that factor in there to make sure you don't not bring in enough revenue. And then the interest rates have been really good, so our interest earnings have been a lot higher than expected. We budgeted at $300,000. If I annualize it out for the year to date, we're already at $375,000 interest credited to this fund. So if you annualize that out through the rest of the fiscal year, it's going to be about $500,000 of interest earned. And so that's on all funds, but it goes back into capital outlay. So that's $200,000 more dollars than we budgeted in there. So those things added together with the ad valorem property tax revenue make the estimated revenue just about a little more than $3.1 million. The other document that's out, so that's the revenue piece. There's a couple documents out there on slicing and dicing the expenditures. There's category summaries that are alphabetical for ease of looking at things, and then there's one sorted high to low based on dollar amount. And this kind of holds true every year, but if you look at the top 5 categories that are listed on there this year, that's HVAC, roofs, athletics, technology, and instructional. Those 5 categories, that's 86% of everything that we're talking about tonight. So obviously those are some of the big ticket item areas, and we'll talk more about those here in a minute. The general project budget for 26-27 is $2,697,950. And then the technology budget Because of timing of ordering and things, Jim Prothy got that ready for us, and we approved that back in February. But again, we're spending it for out of next budget year. So remember, we already had approved for technology $260,650 back in February. So the general plus the technology, that's $2,958,600. Again, that's compared to the 3.1 million revenue that I mentioned earlier. So any expenditure over $20,000, that's the current state law as far as the threshold. If it's a good that you're purchasing, that you have to bid it out. So anything above $20,000, and I'll kind of highlight these as we go through the list, it has to either be, you can buy under a state bid, a state contract, a purchasing cooperative. Those have already been pre-bid, the public solicitation of bids done. But if they're not a part of any of those, then we will have to bid it out. For example, roof bids. We're approving the projects now as a budgetary amount. Our roof consultant will get the labor bids later on that. Again, and we always bid that out, even though it's labor, and technically you wouldn't have to, but that's how we've always done that. So you'll see that one later on. Then, as I already kind of alluded to this, we levy the funds in the current year, and then we spend it for the next fiscal year. And we have a balance in the capital outlay fund. Right now, it's just a little bit more than $6 million. So again, like I said, rough numbers, so go back to my other stated numbers, but our ballpark, so say $3 million a year, $6 million balance, so basically it's like 2 years. But again, we're collecting 1 year, spending the next. So $3 million of that is just what's come in to spend. And then we obviously have a reserve for some other contingencies and things, which we've had in the past and we'll continue to have, and things are expensive when those unexpected things pop up. So obviously that's the reason for the balance. And absent a bond issue, this again, as I mentioned, is the only facility upkeep fund for the district. So we'll talk about some of these specific projects, and in there too, and for the public to see too, there's a few things with some maps and some locations and some photos that maybe kind of help explain some of the things that we'll talk about. So the list, if you look out there at the list that's on board docs, there's 39 projects listed there on the general projects. I'm not going to go through it line by line, I promise you, but I'll kind of hit some highlights of that so that you can begin to think about these things. And then again, questions when we're done. So the first one I'll mention is like number 4, athletics. That's the track project, and there's some photos in there. But that's recoding and restriping the track. And that is part of a purchasing cooperative called TIPS. And so the vendor that we would use for that, it's already been pre-bid. So again, that's a $146,000 item, but it would not have to come back for a separate board approval. Number 7 is a little bit different. And again, this list is alphabetical, in case you're wondering. I'm sure you probably figured that out. Number 7 is still under the athletics realm, but it could border instructional as well. And that is the multi-purpose room at the high school. I always call it the wrestling room, but it's multi-purpose. And that, has a, I don't know how you describe the flooring in there now, but this would replace that with an indoor sports turf system. That is a 5,400 square foot room, so $76,800. We have like some quotes on that. That's not part of a purchasing cooperative. That will come back to you as a bid later. So again, this is approving the project and the budget. We've got a couple bids, got the kind of quotes to get us these figures, but that will come back to you to approve the bids later. Then numbers 13 through 16, that's concrete. There's some photos out there, so I think those were helpful that you can see kind of the deterioration of some of those areas. And some of them are, a lot of that is safety, like the one at Sunflower, if you notice, it's right at a sidewalk area, and it's the handicapped accessible area, and it goes to the high school. So again, things that we just need to keep up with, curbs and sidewalks and things. You'll see in the flooring section, which is like 19 through 21 is the ones I'm talking about. The flooring at the buildings, you'll notice, again, we've been doing a lot of carpet and epoxy in the past. There's 3 different areas in several buildings now that we're going to take tile out and go back just with polished concrete. So if you have questions on that, we can, Scott can probably dazzle you with the polished concrete. The shiny top, right? Shiny top. Let's see, 26 through 28 is HVAC. And those are obviously big ticket items. So continuing the replacement of those boxes over at Cottonwood, that's $240,000. At the middle school, replacing some rooftop units on the 6th grade classroom, that's $185,000. And the middle school also continuing there, 3 of the rooftop units, which are above the auditorium, the commons, and the library. That's $492,000. Those are monster units. You see them when you leave here. You can see them up on the building. And the ton units of those is listed in there. So obviously those are big ticket items. Train has an Omnia Partners bid, which we belong to. It's a purchasing cooperative, so those don't have to be bid later on. Let's see. Number 31 is weight room, and that's replacing the strength equipment for all the PE classes at the high school. That's been there many, many years, and this is replacing all the racks and weights, and I think even flooring of that. And so the budgetary placeholder is $139,614. That would need to be bid, and we'll come back to you as a bid to approve later as well. Couple more that I'll mention, and then we'll answer questions you have. But the roof work, I mentioned those already, 36 through 38. Our roof consultant, we have a multi-year plan, and Scott works with them every year to kind of update that on the rotation for roofs. And so we don't do a lot of roof work over at Sunflower, because a lot of Sunflower is a metal roof, as you know. But this roof section is above the gym, and that's a pretty big area. So it's estimated at $222,000. Again, you'll see a bid on that later for the labor. And then the other roof section that goes along with that by the gym is $61,500 at Sunflower. And then the middle school, we've been doing a lot of roof work over there. So roof section G, which is a large roof, it's over 20,000 square feet. And that's estimated at $610,000. So again, those total right there, what, $900,000 roughly, just my mental math,
There's a tornado in Ottawa, that's probably why it's going on.
something else.
There's a tornado.
Yeah, in Ottawa.
So yeah, be weather aware. And then the last thing I'll mention, vehicles, the last one there alphabetically, because it starts with the letter V. Continuing our vehicle, we have the 10 fleet vehicles of the district, and once we switched to Enterprise, we got several of those upgraded. We still have 2 vehicles. Our oldest 2 are 2018 Dodge Caravans, which they don't make anymore. I've only put 1 in here to replace. Would love to do them both, but monetarily, we're just going to budget for 1. And so by the time it's replaced, it'll be about 9 years old. The other one will be 10 years old that you'll see next year. So we'll replace those either with the Kia Carnival or a Chevy Traverse. Both will be 8 passengers, and they're about $45,000. We would have a trade-in on the 2018s, and actually we've been getting really good resale value out of those. Apparently maybe they're limited edition now, I don't know. The last ones we got rid of, we got pretty good pricing out of, so. Let's see, what did I forget? I'm looking at my notes here. So I think now we're ready just for questions that we have project specifically. Scott can answer, building administrator's here to answer, so happy to answer.
I was gonna ask you, the gym floor there at the middle school, is that just a polish on that? I know when we did that tour, we were talking about not being able to take it down anymore.
Yeah,
so
those are
that's just a
on
polish.
all the gym floors, both at the high school and then at middle school as well. It's what's called a maintenance coat.
Okay.
High usage gyms, you basically do it every year. It's a top coat, a light scrub to, yeah.
That's what I thought.
So, and then there's a price difference you'll see on the 2 at the high school. The Ox gym is a little bit more because it was taken down to bare wood last summer. So it's the same product, it's just a thicker, more dense consistency to get that initial shell on it. And then the maintenance coats are the same after that, so.
You said that this won't be spent until July, right?
That's what we budgeted for, July 1.
I was wondering if it was possible the parts that where we actually need the bids, if we can approve those, that section of it next month and then just approve everything else this month. So we aren't,
The bids, we won't, like the roof bids, we won't do until the fall.
okay.
So normally this is just a budget placeholder of these. The other things we'll have to, some of them we have 2 bids and we usually try to get 3 bids in before we bring them back. So we didn't really talk about a timeline for, I guess the 2 that I said we'd bring back would be the multipurpose room at the high school and the weight equipment. So did we have 2 bids on each of those?
On both of those.
So we probably just need to find a third.
Yeah.
So we'd probably bring that back, it'd be a month or 2, but.
Previous years, have any of the ones that we've approved pre-bidding process been exceptionally higher than what we'd approved, or?
I don't think they've been dramatically, because like these, we've got quotes from these companies, just that's how we get a budgetary number. So assuming they bid and don't drop out of the bid process, then we know that roughly what that bid's going to be. And those 2 projects specifically, we had 2 bids already, so what you're seeing here is the lower of the 2. So, I mean, certainly the longer you wait, just like vehicles, they're gonna cost more, but.
Especially right now, everything's going up.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be dramatic. And so just to clarify too, the July 1, that's what we're budgeting, this is next capital outlay year. But like I said, some of these things have really long lead time, and we'll do a lot of the ordering in May. So you'll see that $6 million balance get encumbered before June 30th, but it kind of all evens out, much like the tech that we did in February. It's out of next year, and we always, like I said, collect the money and spend a year later. So we already have the money in the bank, so we could turn loose of it all tomorrow, but it's timing for me more than anything. So I try to do a lot of the ordering in May before year-end closeout, because June I don't really have a lot of extra time to be doing all that ordering. So I do try to get it done in May.
Okay.
But the bids will be later. So this is just saying this is what our roadmap is going to look like.
Is the install multi-purpose sports turf in the weight room, fitness, strength equipment, is that like just a luxury, or is that something that has to happen?
Well, I'll speak first to the weight room. That is not a luxury, that is replacing what we have. Mr. Hines can actually speak to this, but our weight racks and so forth have been welded multiple times, and so we're getting to where we need to replace them because we're getting ready to have, we don't want safety issues. We've also had some of the benches reupholstered and so forth, they're ready for it. So that one is because of the age of it, needing to do that. And that's reusing what we can and putting back with what we currently have. So it's not necessarily adding anything, it's putting back like, if you will. Jeff, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, Jimmy mentioned there's 2 bids that came in. I believe that there was like $100,000 difference between the 2 bids, so we definitely went with the more conservative, bare minimum base model for everything. And that's also keeping as many of the plates and weights as we can possibly keep on.
How old is that equipment, man?
This is my 23rd year here, and it was new right when I was getting here. Can't remember if it was right before or right after. Mr. Meek mentioned some of the welding. I've personally welded quite a bit of it over the years. So.
And he's a really good welder.
gonna say,
I've seen him weld and he's
My
taught.
welds are broke. I just went with
But it is, I mean, it's,
and yes, I've done it in my dress pants.
so that's that one. As far as the multi-purpose room, this is an option. I don't even know how to explain what's currently there. It's a
hollow tile.
It's old.
Yeah, it is like a hollow tile, and so it's, I mean, can I just be, I don't know that it was ever intended to perform like it was supposed to. And so we have mats in that room. So most of the time when people go in and they see it, they see wrestling mats. Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, it was a severe thunderstorm warning is what this
I don't think
was.
silence is.
And I think it's going just north of us. So on that, then, so the wrestling mats are down. When we'll also have PE and cheer goes in and stunt and so forth. And so what this is an option. It's called indoor turf. It's a carpet, if you will. I guess all turf is carpet, right? But it has a pad underneath. It's not like what you see out at the, like the football field or baseball, softball, what they have the rubber, pellets in it or whatever to help that cushion. It's not that, because there's a foam pad underneath, and then it's got like a grass turf on top of it, so it'll look similar. And that's, so if you have falls, impacts and so forth, there's more give to it, and then they could utilize it better, but that's what that is.
I had a question on the sunflower rooms. Are those like the carpet squares that you're going to do? Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
I would say, get back with your question to Jimmy and so forth. As we come in, and regardless if it's from a consortium or if it's bid, we've had really good luck with, these are our budgetary numbers, but if we get, and we've had really good luck where our bids come in actually under this, but if we get something that's just so out of line and so forth, obviously we're bringing that back. We're not just gonna to spend that. And the one volatile, although Train has been very good, and so is our roofing company. Between our HVAC and our roofing, that's almost $2 million worth of the projects. It's astronomical what and the lead time for the HVAC, and then the roofs. We have to keep our roofs up because that affects our property and casualty insurance.
Honestly, the fact that we have kept our roofs up as well as we have has saved us a lot compared to other districts.
And that's part of the reason when I mentioned like the KSB part of their property and casualty and so forth, and I mentioned that EMC were one of a handful. That's part of the reason that our EMC rates are so good, because we can show that this is what we've kept up with, and they have a threshold and so forth, and so we have done a really good job with that.
And between Scott and Jimmy, I think we're in safe hands with the numbers. So you guys have been doing really well.
Well, we don't like budget surprises any more than anybody, so. And the thing about the roofs too is, like you see in the monthly claims this month, that roof work that we approved last year is just now started making progress payments. So even though we're gonna bid it, we may not pay that out, kind of like the HVAC. That won't get paid out because the lead time on that stuff is.
On the larger units, it's gonna be.
It could be
6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Are you locked in at the price?
Yes.
And actually, they've built in quite a bit of cushion in those prices too, because there's some questioning with the refrigerant change. The units are larger, so they're having to add some structural support, especially on the larger ones in the middle school. And the last thing they want to do is to go over and upset suitably. I think generally Train comes in a little bit lower than the numbers that they send us. They send me every year, so.
It is a formal quote, we issue the PO, it will not be more than.
Okay.
As Scott mentioned, a lot of times it's less than, because they do build some leeway in because of that long lead time, unforeseen changes. So. Should never be more, won't be more.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
They know not to even ask, I don't take extra.
Madam President, I move we approve the capital outlay 26-27 general projects.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? 7-0.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, we are moving on to the addition of girls golf.
So this would be a continuation from last month. My apologies, I didn't put that information back in the board docs for this one. It's the same as what last month is. This is the last sport that we have, the men's team, that we didn't have a women's team, and that has always been our goal. And we have enough interest to be able to move forward with that. So I would recommend approval.
I feel like if it blows up like girls soccer did in 1 year, game on.
Absolutely.
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, second. Motion and second. All those in favor? Approving girls golf. etc. Next up, approving the open enrollment information for 26-27.
So part of the open enrollment process and requirements is to post by May 1st what your capacity is for next school year. And so this information is has a lot of information based off historical data and then projections for next year. Talks about what our enrollment is currently and then what we believe it's going to be next year. And so it's a lot of different charts. Most of the charts are for informational purposes only. I try to make it look the same from year to year. I just update it. And so the gist of all of that is with our enrollment currently the way we are, we would welcome any out of district as long as they're a student in good standing. And that student in good standing means that we want someone that's going to behave well, that's going to have their attendance is good and their grades are good. Now, you can't discriminate, and so we can't ask if someone, nor should we, but I mean, you can't ask if they're special ed or if they are, then what that is. There is a caveat that with open enrollment, if you accept someone and they end up having an IEP, that the state law says that you don't have to provide transportation for out of district but the federal law says if it's on their IEP, you have to follow it. And I know of a court case that has went on, and so the district did have to provide. And so the other piece of that you have to be careful of, we do a really good job of taking past information from schools because they have to upload stuff. Where it's hard is when they're brand new. So if they're say a kindergartner that haven't been to a school, or maybe it's someone that's been homeschooled, that they don't have those records, then that's more difficult and sometimes next to impossible to make a good educated decision. But we always do what we can with the information we have. Anybody that's currently out of district, they are allowed to remain a student as long as they are a student in good standing. And if they are not, the process is that the administrators visit with me. We talk about what the issue is with being a student in good standing. And then if we need to notify that, we do so by May 15th. And so they reach out to that family. And so that's, we haven't had to do that for a few years, but that does come up every once in a while. And it shouldn't be kind of as a aha, because we've been working with a lot of times it's secondary, grades or attendance or whatever. Happy to answer questions, but that's the rationale for that we have put on the district website.
Did we add any requirements for kindergarten that we could, or just for sure?
So, good question. So here's our plan. So we just went through kindergarten enrollment. You heard Brennan talk about that. If we have kids that come in that have not went through kindergarten enrollment, then we're going to try to have a makeup or another one, if you will. However, what we have been told is that we are walking a real fine line because you could get into discrimination based off if you're using what you see to deny. And so that's where it's a. But anytime you have more information, it's still the right thing to do because we want all kids to go through kindergarten enrollment, so we know where they're at educationally, academically, and so forth, so we can be prepared for them. Good question, though.
Motion to approve
Okay,
open enrollment information.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? 7. All right, last step for action items, considering the approval of the legacy pass for retired staff.
When someone currently retires from the district, they are given a, I mean, Orly can speak to it, but, I mean, obviously recognize our end of year stuff. They're given a token of a trinket of some kind, I mean, trying to be meaningful to it. But this was actually an idea that I've had for quite a while, but I actually had a staff member that asked about it and just kind of brought it to the forefront. So this would be something for consideration. The idea is that anyone, and the way it's written right now, is that anyone, any staff member that is retiring from USD 368 that's worked in our buildings, and will be a CAPERS retiree. So that's, and they've worked the previous, what we have right now for discussion, the previous 5 years with us, would have, or if they would like, this legacy pass, which would allow them and a spouse to get into home regular season athletic events for middle school, high school. This would be similar to what happens now if they are an employee. So if an employee has their ID badge, then the difference is, employee, if you're a current employee, you get, your family can come in with you. There's nothing magical about 5 years, other than we didn't want it to just be a year. And so that was kind of the starting point for, and the reason this came about, I mean, just in conversation partially, is because, and it came from an elementary teacher that goes and tries to, they follow, you know, they have them in elementary school, right? And so she follows her kids that she's had as they get into middle school, high school, and she has kids reach out and say, hey, can you come watch me compete in the play or in the other stuff, although this wouldn't qualify for plays. I mean, I buy a ticket to go watch the play and so forth, but as our staff does, but this would be similar, but something to where they could continue to kind of follow the kids that they had in class and so forth. I'm trying to think if there's anything.
Is it retroactive? So like,
for the,
or is it just like
from here
this-
moving forward?
yeah.
No, we would take care of the people.
I would like
that-
to see it.
Yeah,
if
no,
if
we
did it.
we talked about that.
Yeah.
We would take care of if somebody had it, and then the other piece is, this is gonna become more of, probably less of an issue as far as the timing, because right now, if you are a CAPERS 1 retiree, that means that you could retire, if you've been in it, then the earliest is usually 54. And so we have what's called a golden age pass now, so if anyone is 65, then they get in once they hit 65. And so you're talking, 10 or 11 year that this could be. I say that, the reason I say that as we move forward, it'll be less. If you're a CAPERS 2 or a CAPERS 3 retiree, you have to be 60 before you can retire. And so that window shrinks, and there are fewer CAPERS 1 employees now than what they're used to be. So
How many a year are we talking? I mean, it doesn't seem like it'd be a large number anyway.
in a big year, 5.
That's what I thought.
5 or 6. I mean, it's not a lot. I mean, over time it would be, but I mean, over a 10-year period, I guess it could be, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think through, would we have a lot of people, every single, so, and I visited with Mr. Hines about it and stuff, and I mean, we have fewer people coming to some of our stuff, but it's because we're seeing increase with Sports Live. They're logging on and watching, because it's just more convenient sometimes.
Motion to approve of that.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay.
I'm actually gonna head out this letter after you with that. That's okay.
So we would need personnel's on the agenda, or I mean, negotiations on the agenda first, so.
30
I would-
minutes for that?
I think so.
Okay, Madam President, I move that we go into executive session with Jimmy and
Just Jimmy and I.
Jimmy and Matt to discuss negotiations pursuant to personal matters of knowledge of personnel in order to protect the privacy and interests of the individuals to be discussed, and that we return to open session in this room at 7:45.
Yeah. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? 7-0.
Somebody's gonna have to read the motion.
Just, you can just move to extending the current executive session.
Just say I move to extend executive by 10 minutes.
I move to extend the executive session by 10 minutes.
Okay,
Second.
Christian second. All those in favor?
6-0.
Yep.
Morley, I like whatever you. Shelter at the middle school. Do you want to put it on live, Jim, so we can make that announcement?
Is it raining?
Okay, due to weather, do you want to make the announcement? We're on.
Sure. Due to weather, we are going to suspend and move to the middle school to seek shelter. We will return.
Yep. And that would be everybody.
He's where?
Mention something else for the recording, just to be transparent.
What specifically? Just that we were completed.
Yeah, due to.
Okay. Okay, just for the record, we completed our first our negotiations time of executive session while we were in
The storm shelter.
storm shelter, thank you. And then we moved into our personnel time of executive session as well in the storm shelter. Sirens have gone out the door, so we're back and ready to adjourn.
You need a motion.
Do I need, I do
You
need, not
need a-
do I need a motion?
You need a
I need a
motion.
motion.
You need a.
You need a motion to approve the personnel agenda
Right.
with adjustment?
Sure.
Or with no adjustment? With adjustment?
With
With
adjustment.
adjustments. Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the personnel with the amendment, adjustment.
What is the amendment?
As amended.
As
Oh,
amended.
as amended.
As amended, sorry.
As amended, sorry.
Okay.
That was what I was supposed to say.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Okay, thanks. Okay, now, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, do I have a second? Second, all those in favor? Thank you. All right, thanks, guys.
But-